Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Eric Hayden. I'm a meteorologist with the National Weather Service in Newport Morehead City, joined by one of our forecasters, Rohan Jain. He's going to talk a little bit about the cold weather that's going to impact most of our area for the majority of the week. I'm going to break the snowfall map down. We're going to talk about headline changes. Then we're going to transition over to Rohan, who's going to talk more about the cold weather. That's going to be quite impactful for the majority of the area. Biggest change since earlier this morning, increased snowfall amounts. And because of that, we have issued some winter weather products. We usually like to issue these as far in advance as possible based on our confidence. But this has been a very, very challenging forecast, incredibly difficult. So we've tried to ease into things. But some of our guidance has increased snowfall amounts starting this morning. That's why we did that graphic in the video to kind of hedge and mention we may need to do this. And that did happen. So as of this afternoon, we have issued a winter storm watch for much of eastern North Carolina. That darker blue shading, that is the area that has the greatest potential for the highest snowfall amounts and the greatest potential for those impacts, travel disruptions, things like that. In that blue shaded area, you are under a winter storm watch. Farther inland, we still think lesser amounts as you go farther inland. So places like Greenville, Kinston, Kenansville, you're under a winter weather advisory. We think everybody's going to see snow. In the advisory area, it's more of a nuisance. Still slippery roads, still want to take it easy, but you have the least highest chance of getting those more impressive snowfall amounts. So that's why you folks are under that advisory. One thing I want you to pay attention to, this is 4:30 on Monday afternoon. We'll do another update tomorrow morning. By that time, we're going to have to make a decision with this watch area. It's either going to be upgraded to a winter weather advisory or a winter storm warning. For whoever's upgraded to an advisory, those areas will have the lesser amounts, more of a nuisance snow. For any area under the watch currently that's upgraded to a warning, if that happens, that means our confidence continues to increase and we're a lot more confident that we're going to have those higher snowfall totals and the highest impact. So a watch means it's a possibility. A warning will mean that we do expect it to happen. So pay attention to that update Tuesday morning. If it transitions to an advisory, still going to happen. We just think those amounts will be lower. And any folks upgraded to a warning, that means that we think the highest impacts will occur and our confidence has increased. Tough forecast. One thing that hasn't changed is the timing. Tuesday afternoon, yes, we're going to see some snow showers, some flurries coming in through the Outer Banks, the Crystal Coast. It'll be notable. Any snow falling in eastern North Carolina is notable. Don't panic, don't worry. We still think any impactful snow will be after sunset Tuesday evening. So you still have time to get home. But Tuesday night, very early Wednesday morning, it's going to come in really quick and then leave just as quickly, but very impactful to roads because temperatures will be cold. Rohan's going to talk about that in a second, but anything falling from the sky will be sticking and will be quite slippery. So when you see those snowfall amounts, for some of you, you still may say, hey, it's only an inch or two, but it's going to be quite impactful because of the cold weather. And then through the rest of the week, because of the cold temperatures, a lot of it's going to stick around. If it melts a little bit during the daytime, it's going to either refreeze into black ice, or with temperatures not getting above freezing, especially in the shady spots, it's just going to stay around for many, many days, kind of similar to what we had back in 2018. So this is not a snow that comes and then it's gone by afternoon. We do think this will stick around, at least on the ground, for a couple days. And Rohan's going to talk about this at the end. Impactful cold temperatures starting tomorrow morning, most of the week, and then the other period we're watching is Wednesday night into Thursday for some of the coldest wind chills and air temperatures. All these updates can be found on our website. The links are below. You can kind of click around and see how much snow you can expect where you live. This is a big change, increased snowfall amounts. It's important to realize our first map was yesterday afternoon. It trended down overnight, and then new guidance was coming in this morning. We made that map to kind of say, hey, some of these changes may have to take place, and that has certainly happened. That's what a forecast is. It's evolving. When you're talking a 4 to 6 gradient all the way to less than an inch over a very small period or area, that's an incredibly difficult forecast. We don't have to worry about ice. We don't have to worry about that. It's just how much precipit's going to fall, because it's all going to be in the form of snow. Still highest confidence, the farther west and north you live, the least amount of snow. So adjusting to as much as an inch, places like Greenville and Kinston, it says less than an inch, but you'll be right around that threshold. As you head farther to the east, amounts quickly increase. So 1 to 2, 2 to 3 from Jacksonville, just near New Bern up through Columbia. And then if we're going to see the highest impact for potentially even higher totals, this is high enough for now, 3 to 4 across much of Carteret County, but this is a 4+ bullseye down east, Cedar Island, Beaufort East, areas that usually don't see that much snow. That's a 4+. 4+ Englehart up through Kill Devil Hills, Rodanthe, Frisco, Ocracoke. So all Hatteras Island and Ocracoke under that higher amount. That's as of 4:30 on Monday afternoon. Could it trend slightly farther inland? Possibility. Could it trend a little bit to the east? That's a possibility. We don't expect to go back to zero or drastic changes, but just because you live in Columbia and Belhaven and Aurora, don't think that that gradient can't shift 20, 30 miles to the west. So bottom line, highest amounts the farther south and east you go, and especially that red dashed area, that's where we think the highest amounts could be locally higher. We're going 3 to 4, 4 to 6, but there could be some isolated totals that are above that. We certainly saw that with the January 2018 event, especially later that month. Biggest impact still overnight Tuesday, accumulating snow, likely on the roads because temperatures will be below freezing for that. So I'm going to turn it over to Rohan here in a second. We are the day before. Forecast accuracy has increased, so adjustment of plans, if you can, that's certainly advised. And the next thing you're going to be watching out for is tomorrow morning, early in the morning, the latest forecast update. Have we upgraded that watch area to an advisory, or have we gone with a warning? That will kind of sway us either way in terms of confidence on those final snowfall totals. So one thing, Rohan, we talked about is temperatures are really going to allow the snow to stick, but you're talking dangerous wind chills even starting tomorrow morning. Why don't you kind of lead through the next couple of days what people can expect, and do we have any hope for warmer weather, maybe hopefully this weekend?
Yeah, so as Eric had mentioned earlier, it is going to be really cold for a really long period of time here, a couple days coming up. So while the snow begins Tuesday evening, Tuesday night, the cold actually begins tonight. So tonight and tomorrow morning, we'll start getting wind chills in the teens, and that really continues every night for like tonight, tomorrow night, all the way to Thursday night. We finally get a bit of reprieve as we get into Friday and the weekend, but it will be pretty chilly for much of this work week. And as I mentioned before, some pretty dangerously cold wind chills. We have a cold weather advisory out for tonight for Eastern North Carolina, and we can expect cold weather advisories almost every night through Thursday. So now moving on to the low temperatures for tonight into Tuesday morning. In the teens for much of mainland Eastern North Carolina, in the 20s as you get close to the coast. But thinking about the wind chills, that's a combination of temperature and wind. So while it's going to be 25 degrees in Frisco because of the wind chills are going to be significantly colder than that. So we're expecting wind chills in the teens to even single digits for tomorrow morning. But the teens for the Outer Banks going to near 5 degrees as you get into the coastal plain to our west. So it'll be very cold. We do suggest that you take all necessary precautions if you are out and about Tuesday morning. These wind chills could cause frostbite on exposed skin, and make sure to not leave your pets outside, bring them inside. Now, as I mentioned, there's going to be multiple days worth of cold. So while Tuesday morning is cold, Wednesday is going to be cold, but not as bad as Tuesday morning. We have some cold weather coming back Thursday morning. So Tuesday and Thursday morning are the two coldest days to watch out for here. Thursday morning low temps are similar, 15, 16 degrees inland, but then getting to the 20s, maybe even 30 along the coast. But again, with the wind, it'll feel much colder than that. So wind chills Thursday morning will again be in the teens to single digits throughout much of Eastern North Carolina. So it'll be really cold. And what this means is the snow, as Eric had mentioned, the snow won't have much of a chance to melt. All throughout Wednesday, it should remain in snow form because even in the daytime, we won't be above freezing. The best chance we have of this snow starting to melt will end up being Thursday in the daytime. And it's not falling until Tuesday in the night. So we have about 24 to 36 hours of no melting of snow. But then it'll melt Thursday, But then Thursday night, we have below freezing temperatures again. So any snow melt that does occur will freeze back up and cause some more hazardous driving and road conditions as well. So just be aware while the snow is right in front of us, and it's certainly a big ticket item. Don't forget about the cold temperatures, because those are also hazardous for us in Eastern North Carolina. Just quick, some cold safety material here. Make sure if you're going outside, you dress appropriately for the weather to avoid getting any frostbite or hypothermia, anything of that nature. And we have some a graphic here for you to look at and consult. And with that, I'll throw it back to Eric here.
All right, thanks, Rohan. At least you gave us a little excitement for the weekend. If people don't like the snow and cold, it finally gets not as cold. So major adjustments to those snowfall maps. Appreciate people joining us and following along. Again, forecasts can evolve and change. This is an especially challenging one. So stressing to continue to follow the forecast update tomorrow morning. Best way you can do that, a few different ways. Number one, our latest briefing is always online. Number two, if you want to get specific forecast hour by hour, when do snow chances increase? What about my town? How much snow are we going to have? Weather.gov or weather.gov/forecast points. Tremendous amount of information there. We will also put this recording on YouTube. So if you just joined us late, if you want to share it with your community, this is open to everybody to share.